If you're not familiar where we're currently at Clayton Off Road's headquarters in Connecticut, and we figured it was about time to lift Ryan's Jeep. We took it out recently off-roading, scraped a few things underneath, and it was time to get it up in the air a little bit and really make this Jeep perform like it should. So for Ryan's Jeep, we decided to pick out the 1.5" Ride Right kit. Now, specifically on this Jeep, it comes with all the base platform kit pieces that you need to really build it up and get the Jeep set up for daily driving and off-roading. Now, with the Ride Right kit, you're gonna have a lot of nice components laid out, and the best thing that you can do with this is you can continue to add on to it. A lot of kits, when you buy them, you have to get a couple components, and then you need to completely replace it when you wanna upgrade. With the Ride Right kit, Clayton designs it so you can add on more control arms, you can add on beefier components, and get your Jeep higher if needed. We did go with the 1.5" because Ryan's tire size, his goal is a 35" when we add on some different fender flares on here. With the Ride Right on the 2-door, we get both a pair of the upper control arms in the rear and a pair of upper control arms for the front. These are gonna help dial in a little bit more of those angles and really help this Jeep ride right, as it's in the name. Front and rear track bars, all 4 coil springs, as well as the sway bar links front and rear come with this kit. Now you do have to pick out some shocks, and we have those setting in the back, and we'll show you which ones we pick out once we get to that point. All right, guys, before we dive too deep, we're gonna check out underneath and see what Ryan scraped up. I don't know, let me see. There's where it got it right here. So really the Jeep was used for what it was intended for. The trans cross member got a little bit of a ding here and some scrapes. That's what it was hitting on that rock. So that's what we were hearing. We were at AOAA, and it's exactly what it stood up for. But everything underneath here is all brand new. It's 2 months old. So swapping out the components, it's gonna be a really good lift today, and it's gonna look really, really nice when it's done. All right, guys, well, you can tell today I'm not doing the install on Ryan's Jeep, so sorry to you, Ryan. But I do have Joe and his team from LockedN'Loaded 4x4, and they've come up from Pennsylvania because you guys have been working with Clayton forever.
We do a lot of suspensions, driveline, gears, transfer cases. Kind of, you pick it, we'll do it if it's within our capability and we feel we can nail it. Other than that, just a typical 4x4 shop.
And you guys work on a couple different states. You got people coming from Connecticut, you said New Jersey, New York,
Jersey,
PA.
Ohio, Virginia, Maryland.
So all over the place.
Pretty good spread of people.
Joe, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. How many kits do you think you've installed from Clayton Off Road over the years?
Well over 1,000.
1,000?
We only sell Clayton Off Road suspension. We won't promote or sell any other suspension. We have a really good program going with them. We have a really good friendship going with them, and it's outstanding customer service. We have no reason to look for anything elsewhere.
But yeah, we trust these guys, and if you guys want to be linked up to them directly, be sure to use that Upfitter affiliate program. Regardless of what state you're in, even if you're all the way on the West Coast, we've got people all over the place. But this is one of the reasons, because these guys, they just drove from PA all the way up here to Connecticut just to help out with this and get on camera a little bit and kind of help us out. So that's the shops that we work with, and we're excited to have them up here. They're kind of starting on the rear here, and one thing they did notice on the lower control arm, Ryan did get a nice little bit underneath here. So they all do it. This is a low-hanging fruit, but he got it on the lower shock mount as well as the lower control arm just down here a little bit. Those are just some loves. Oh, you got a little bit on your diff too. A little bit underneath your diff. And a little bit over here. But that's why we're lifting it today. All right, Ryan, let's go pick out your shocks. Remember, your budget is not that high, okay? Remember, we have the base bone stock Jeep. Hey. All right, let's go pick out some shocks. Joe in the cameo again. We're going to pick out shocks. What do you want? Falcons? I don't know. I've ran those before. I don't know what I had. The 3.1's the adjustable, but I think we're going to go with some of these over here. Now, they're all labeled, so I guess we just have to pick out a couple of them, which we're actually not going to take because it'll probably mess up the whole inventory system. But
I'm going to do it.
well, and Joe's just going to pick out a couple shocks. But yeah, we're going to go with the Fox 2.0s on here, unless we go with like the 2.5s or something like that. I think those are what, $3 grand for a set for the Fox 2.5s? We'll take all the sets. Clayton makes everything else besides the shocks. The nice thing is that they keep all of these in stock. So if you guys need them, I mean, I've never seen this many Falcon shocks in one setup, or the Fox shocks. So everything is here ready to go and be shipped out to you. So make sure to use the DRC code also, because you can save some cash when you buy these kits.
So we're going to do 177 and 178 2 to 3. So that's something we should also talk about too, because that gives you the ability to go up to almost their 3.5-inch springs. I mean, even close, but like you can. The other cool part.
Yeah, because what do they? They have the 2 to 3 inch, or it's like what, the 0 to 1.5.
Yeah, 0 to 1.5 is too
which
short,
yeah.
That's, I mean, the key for my customers is telling them that you know, if you get to a height that you're like, maybe you want to get bigger wheels or something down the road, you don't have to rebuy everything. You just need bigger springs, and it's like under $500 installed.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a good deal too, but you want to get the shocks ready for it as well. So we got the shocks all set up.
So now you can go
That's
up,
a good
though.
tip.
Yeah,
You know,
you can go
that's
up and
yeah.
up.
You go up a little bit and not have to buy a whole new set of shocks, which costs a good amount of cash. All right, we're gonna go steal these. Neat thing is too is everything's categorized, it's all labeled, it's ready to ship out, and I believe they said most items will ship out in 24 to 48 hours, if not quicker. I can tell you that when we get the lift kit shipped into us, it's like a day or two. I mean, we're in PA, so it's a little bit closer, but everything is stocked, it's all labeled, and it's ready to go. Yeah, do you have the full long arm ready to install on this today, Joe?
We're gonna learn that.
In a day? All right.
8 hours.
Just get out the torch and start cutting all the factory brackets off.
Yeah,
there's
get the
enough.
plasma cutter and
There's
a
enough tools
There's
here.
enough stuff.
We could get it done. Now, the more we're talking about this, kind of thinking about the 1.5" kit, I was almost like, hey, it's a little. I don't know. I always go with the biggest kit. It's a little bit of a smaller kit to put on a 2-door. But in reality, this is perfect for what Ryan is wanting, and I think it's going to be a good setup for a lot of people. This is almost like a good entry-level kit. Now, when I say entry-level, I don't mean anything when it comes to the parts. This uses the exact same components as everything I have on my full Overland suspension system from Clayton Off Road. What this does do is kind of give you a good platform. So you can choose the Ride Right kit in a couple different sizes. So Ryan, you could have actually done like a 2.5 or a 3.5 inch Ride Right kit.
Yeah.
So where you could actually just get the upper control arms, just do what you have done today, see if you like that height, see if you like the way it rides, see if you like the way it performs, which it's a Clayton kit, of course you're going to. You can kind of get started in the Jeeping community, get out there, wheel and enjoy it, and then as you get more into it, right, you go to the 35s, then you go to the 37s, then you go to the 40s. You can leave everything that's on here besides changing the springs, extending the sway bar lengths, and adjusting the lengths of the control arms. They're the exact same components. So Ryan, as you get more into it and say you want to go to 40s one day, we can do that with this kit as a starting component, which I think is really cool because you wouldn't think that you could go 1.5" all the way to 3.5" and run 40s on the same kit. So guys, here's one of the biggest changes on the 2024. Now this is the front sway bar end link and this is the rear here. But now on the rear, this would be the same size as a 23 in previous JL, the upper mount. But you guys can see just how much bigger the nut and the actual thread pitch and the size of the bolt is here. This is a pretty significant increase. Luckily, Clayton did come out with a fix for this, but it was a pretty big issue when these first came out. It doesn't seem like one, but if you try and fit one of these smaller sway bar end links into this, it is just not gonna work. So here's the 2024 sway bar end link fix. By using a stainless steel insert into the top of the sway bar, this actually fixes that gap. Now it is a lot bigger here on the 2024 compared to the 18 to 23, but Clayton includes these in all the brand new kits to make sure that you have it. So it's this piece here, as well as a brand new washer that is included to get enough clamping force and fill all of that void. So we are putting upper control arms on this Ride Right kit. Now, it was actually funny. When I installed this in mine on the Rubicon, I actually had these on the left and right side. I had them backwards. And it was because they weren't labeling them yet and the differences are so minute. So now they do label them, side-specific, driver's side and the passenger side. Joe was just saying too, it's more of an issue with the Rubicons because the axles are wider, so it pushes them out a little bit. So Ryan, even if you would swap them and have them on different sides on this Jeep, it probably wouldn't affect it because you have a standard sport, but they are labeled, so. All right, guys, we're going in to eat some Sally's Pizza. There's a big contention up here in New Haven, Sally's or Pepe's. We had Pepe's last night. We got to check it out. Dave Portnoy does this on one bite, so we're gonna see what everybody. Let's go get a rating from everyone in here.
So this is Sally's.
Look, Joe's not.
Why are you letting it flop like that?
Don't flop it.
Because Portnoy was wrong. Like, mine
Shots
doesn't have
fired.
that.
It's potato.
I can't
It's like we're back in Pennsylvania with potatoes.
I'm gonna give it an 8.7.
Yeah, I'm in the high 8s as well. This
like
is pretty good.
The potato's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, have a piece. I'd give it like an 8-9. Well, guys, this is one of those when in Rome kind of things. So while we're here, we realized that we got a lot of scarred up sections underneath this Jeep just from wheeling it the first time. And Clayton Off Road does make a lot of other products that are really going to help out for that. The first one being this jumbo piece. What do you say, Joe, about this? This is what, 1/4" plate steel, all welded. This is the front axle disconnect piece. Now, as James was just saying, a lot of these just kind of cover this back section. There's some of these that just only do this part. This one actually ties all the way around up front to the steering stabilizer mounts that are cast into the axle. So with this kit, you also do pick up the relocation bracket, which comes with 2 pieces. This is also a good excuse if you're doing this to already kind of do some new steering up front too, and maybe a new stabilizer. But they said, why design this disconnect and replace this and leave the low-hanging fruit of the stabilizer. So this is going to pick everything up, get it nice and covered up with this piece, which, Ryan, if you damage this, I don't know, I'll be impressed.
We also just learned how to turn a welder on, so we're going to take a stab at welding
And what
on
else?
some lower control arm skids.
So we're going to put some lower control arm skid plates on there. Clayton also sells those. Now, you do have to do a little bit of welding to do that, but that's why you come to a shop like yours if you're not comfortable with that. So, Ryan, the whole front end of your Jeep should be really beefed up now. So another thing we decided to pick up while we're here, a Fox ATS steering stabilizer. I run this on mine. Now, this one's a little bit different because we are relocating and changing it up a bit. So this is actually the JK mount that clamps right onto your tie rod, which this is fit, or it's a perfect fit for the factory JL tie rod. If we were going to go to like a Curry Correct Link setup, we would need to change this up depending on the diameter of it. This is a perfect complement to the rest of the lift kit, and it really does stiffen up the front. Well, we just got everything wrapped up. 1.5 inch ride right kit is fully installed with a couple extra goodies on here. So we went with the stabilizer and everything else. So Joe, how'd everything go? I know Alex did most of it, but how'd everything go?
It's Clayton Off Road. The fitment's always precise. We did a couple extra little goodies. We did some lower control arm, weld-on skid plates, and fab. Just say
front axle disconnect.
Axle
leave
disconnect.
it in.
Yeah, we know
leave
it
it
is.
in.
Leave it in.
Yeah, leave it in.
So we did that. Upper control arms front, upper control arms rear, front and rear sway bar links, track bars adjusted to length. We're about to put it on the ground for the first time and see it at its 1.5 inch ride height. We do not have wheels yet, but we're going to get to that very soon.
Yeah, looks like a little bit more than 1.5.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right, so we're gonna flex it out a little bit. Now, mind you, this does not have sway bar disconnects because it's not a Rubicon, but Clayton does offer those in JKS quick disconnects for those sport and non-Rubicon owners that do not have sway bar disconnects. So we're gonna see what the 1.5 inch kit does and try not to roll Ryan's Jeep over. Like I said, still sway bars disconnected. All right, you're up. That's pretty good flex without. Yeah, you could. If we had 33s, 35s in the back, those would stuff in nicely. We're on factory 31s. It's not as impressive as the 392, but it's only an 1.5 inch lift.
Well, I think once
if we disconnected the front,
the sway
yeah.
bar and got the tires that are designed for this, then it just looks the part, right?
Yeah.
Plus the tires need to come out a little bit more.
Yep,
Let's see what
offset.
happens with the front.
Yeah, let's try the front. And you got a lot more to go yet if these were disconnected. Yeah, plenty more to go.
Sway bar's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, you're not swaying. On today's viewer rig of the video, we are checking out Lewis's 2023 Oscar Mike Edition Jeep. Now this Jeep doesn't have a ton done to it quite yet, but I just wanted to showcase kind of the Oscar Mike parts, and he did as well. So he had mentioned that he watched all of our videos on the High Tide, the Jeep Beach models, the old Islander. He said he wished that some of these came with a little bit more on the special editions, and I would also agree. Now, looking at this Jeep, it is in the Firecracker Red, but on the Oscar Mike, you do get a bunch of custom pieces. So you get some exterior badging with the American flag, the black outer end, the fenders, but then on the interior, you get a leather/cloth Oscar Mike Edition seat. On the back tailgate, you do get the Oscar Mike Edition placard, which comes with original for GPW or GPW Jeeps being actually airdropped in. So that's really cool to see too. Oscar Mike badging on the rear, and then I believe front and rear steel bumpers also come stock. So a very modest trim to start out with and gives you a lot of bang for your buck. So Lewis, thank you so much for following along. Thank you also for all your nice comments. We always see them on our channel. So for that, we want to thank you. And if you guys want to have your Jeep featured in our videos, be sure to hit us up through Instagram or send us an email. Well guys, we are wrapped up with the 1.5 inch lift on Ryan's Jeep, and I gotta say it turned out really, really great. Now, we do have the forklift up just to show some articulation, but we do plan on going larger wheels and tires, which will help this thing articulate and absolutely look a lot better than it does right now. But a huge shout out to Locked and Loaded 4x4 for coming out, helping us out and doing the installation today, and obviously obviously Clayton Off Road for hooking us up with all the equipment that we have on these Jeeps. This is the only lift kit and suspension company you're going to see on this channel, so we're really, really happy to have the 1.5 inch. And honestly, Ryan, what do you think? What do you think about it? Ready to drive it 4 hours home, full send? Yeah, no. Everything looks great on this Jeep. It's gonna perform exceptionally well too. The only other things we might add, like I said, the sway bar disconnects, gonna throw in some wheels and tires and then remove the rest of this plastic on this Jeep. We had a ton of fun here today at Clayton Off Road. And if you guys are looking for a suspension system or shocks or any other component for your Jeep, be sure to check out Clayton. They have everything that you need and they have it in stock right here at the warehouse. So until next time, my name is Matt with Dirt Road CRED, and I want you to get out there and earn yours.